You're not confused. You've just been taught to be conditioned. You've been taught to shrink, to obey, and to doubt your own damn brilliance. They told you to follow the rules and they taught you what rules to follow to a T. And being the rebel that I am, I'm here to help you break every last one of them. So let's talk about the invisible programming that's got you stuck right now, that's keeping you broke, burnt out, and out of alignment. I'm going to help you make this mindset shift today, once and for all, so that you never have to look back other than to say that you have grown, developed, and evolved into an entirely different human being, woman, business owner, right? I want you to get into a different mindset. And so we are going to talk about today exactly what the rules are that we need to break, why you're stuck and why you are feeling, exactly why you're still where you are, and how we can move you from where you are to where you ultimately want to be. And in order to do that, you have to stop being who you are, who you've been taught to be, right? And you have to focus on the woman you are becoming, right? So let's go ahead and get into it. First of all, there is the good girl programming. Okay, let's talk about that first. So Gen X women like you and I, those of us who are over 40, right? If you had any kind of decent upbringing at all, you were raised just like I was to be prissy, prim, and proper, to be polite, to be obedient, right? To be accommodating. Ever since we were little girls, like that's the generation we come from. That's the era of our upbringing, right? Or the upbringing of our era. We were taught to be quiet, to cross our legs, to act like a lady, right? We were taught not to be too fast, not to have too much sass. Don't talk back. Don't be sassy. We were told to sit up at the dinner table, right? Sit up, elbows off the table, have manners, chew with your mouth closed, right? We were also taught to do as we were told, to obey the law, to obey authority, to follow the rules. And we were told to go to school, get good grades, and be a what? Good girl. That's what we were taught ever since we were young. And so that's the programming you're holding on to. But now that you are a whole grown woman, a whole grown adult, okay, you feel guilty asking for more, and you don't want to go against the grain because those messages are still ingrained in your brain. And that is what we need to retrain starting today. We've got to get rid of those messages, right? Those patterns for you right now are showing up at work and they're showing up in your business. At work, you don't want to make waves, so you don't say too much. You don't want to cause conflict. You don't want to ruffle feathers. You don't want to give pushback, right? So you follow the rigid rules without question. You do as you're told because that's what you've been taught that you're supposed to do. Even if it's not on your job description, even if you're not getting paid for it, right? You don't speak up for yourself and you don't go and ask for the promotions that you're deserving of. So you're getting passed up for those promotions, right? They look you over or they don't look at you at all. There are no real advancement opportunities for you. So, and you just kind of sit back and not say a thing. You're just in the background, letting it all go down, and you're not saying a word. That's how it's showing up for you at work. But in business, you refuse, absolutely refuse to raise your prices. Okay. You're taking any clients that'll pay you anything, and old money ain't good money, right? So, and all clients are not for you, just like you're not for every client, but you're accepting these clients because of learned behavior. The kind of clients that you wouldn't otherwise work with, probably the same kind of clients that have the same kind of behaviors that are you're used to, in the corporate environment, working for those same type of like coworkers or those colleagues that, or maybe even your superiors or some sort of subordinates if you're in a leadership role, right? Maybe those kind of toxic people are also in your business as clients that you're working with, and that's not good either. So the other thing that's happening is you're not setting boundaries. You are, not raising your prices. I mentioned that. You are doubting. You are decisive. You won't show up fully online as boldly and as beautifully and brilliant as you are. And it's not because you don't have the skills, right? It's because you lack the confidence. You lack the confidence, and you've been told for so long not to be too much. So these are some of the examples that I'm giving you as to how they're showing up for you in your business as well as in your corporate career. And so corporate conditioning, that's a great segue leading into that, right? So this is a second programming, right? Corporate is conditioning your mind as well, right? Because you get in the job and you learn for any employer. Now, you might be salaried, so I'm just using the terms clocking and clocking out because you know what those terms mean, even if you're salaried and you're not required to literally clock in. If you are an independent contributor, or whether or not you are an exempt employee or not, right? Salaried, hourly, doesn't really matter. You were told, you have learned in the corporate arena to clock in and clock out. You go to work, you shut up, you do your job, you grind for your 9 to 5. You even are asked to work overtime, right? Sometimes double time when you're short, when the staffing situation, there's a staffing shortage. And then you're told to wait for approval before you make a move. Your voice is often silenced. Your talents are not valued, right? Your vision is not received at all, yet like your voice is not heard. You have good ideas, but nobody is putting those good ideas into effect, right? You're told to speak up in meetings, and then when you do, you're not speaking up enough, or you're talking too much. You've said more than enough, so you can't win for losing. You might have your rights violated. You might have been victimized. There are all the things going on in that corporate arena, especially if you're working in a toxic job or a hostile work environment. And so now as an entrepreneur, what's happening is you're second guessing yourself. You're doubting everything. You can't make up your mind and there's no boss to validate your next move and no job description to inform your next decision or what's the next task on your to-do list. So you don't have the structure, you don't have the discipline that you need in business to show up for yourself consistently. And so it's just like all of these, it's like so much chaos going on in your mind because of your conditioning. And then, of course, there's the religious and cultural beliefs, right? You're told that ambition equals arrogance. You're told that money is the root of all evil. You're told that rest equals laziness. And none of those things are true. These are beliefs that are embedded in your whole entire soul, ingrained in your brain. And we need to dismantle these beliefs because if we don't, you're never going to get to a place of having holistic success. You're never going to feel free in your spirit, and you're never going to run a freedom-based business, right? And other areas of your life is also going to be affected because all of these, the way you show up now today is all based on and rooted in the way you were conditioned in these areas that we just spoke about. And so if we don't change those things, you're not going to get really to the place of feeling free and embracing ease and showing up just as you are, the most authentic you. You're never going to feel comfortable being there. And the trauma is just going to linger. Here's what I want you to know. You are not stuck just because because of these things, right? You're not stuck at all. And it's only for a moment that you're here. The good news is that we can move you from where you are right now by changing the way you think. So you're not stuck because you don't know what to do, right? You're stuck because you've been trained to doubt what you already know. You got me? So if you're getting what I'm giving and you love these gems I'm dropping, go ahead and leave a comment below so we can get this discussion popping. Before we go any deeper, I want to know what's resonating with you, what's hitting home, what's hitting, pulling on those heartstrings, and where are you in the journey right now? Have you been experiencing this? Are these the kinds of things that's showing up for you, whether you're still in your 9-to-5 job and or running a business already? Like, what are some of the things that I mentioned so far in this video that you are really resonating with? Also, if you are really getting value from my video today, from this episode, or from any of my content so far, then I want you, if you're feeling my vibe and you want to become a part of my tribe, go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a single episode whenever I drop new content and or go live, okay? Now, I want to share just a quick little story with you because I often like to share just so you can see yourself in me and from my lens, my perspective, because as I am speaking to you, I want you to know that I've been where you are, right? I want you to understand that I'm not just speaking from a place of, something that I heard, secondhand information, something I've read in a book, right? I have a lot of the same or similar lived experiences that you do. And so sometimes when we hear other people's stories, we realize she really gets me, right? She really knows what I've been through, or she's been through something similar. And it gets you to open up and hear things differently from a new perspective, from a different pair of eyes, right? A fresh brain, somebody else's lived experience, in this case, mine. Okay. So when I left corporate, I really felt so free, so free. And after all, that's why we get into business, right? We want to feel free. We don't want to have a boss. We want to live life on our terms. We want to have the autonomy, the freedom, the flexibility, true fulfillment. We certainly don't want a boss, because if we have a boss, we can't experience that. So when I left corporate, I did feel so free. But months later, after being in it, I found myself still overworking. I found myself still I wasn't charging anything in corporate, right? But I was undercharging. I was overworking myself silly, burning what's the saying? And I'm always messing up cliches, but burning both ends of the candlestick, right? Burning the midnight oil. Yep, that was me for hours upon hours in a day. I questioned my every move. I was indecisive. Should I do that? Should I do this? Is this the right investment? I'm not so sure. It was so many things that where in corporate, I felt more, not necessarily in control, right? But because I was in leadership roles for so long, 20 plus years, I did at least feel that it was familiar territory, right? So I knew how to move. I knew, how far I can take things. I knew what pushback I could give. I knew about the red tape and the office politics and the bureaucracies that come with corporate America. Again, familiar territory. So I knew how to play the game, and I knew how to give enough pushback and not follow every raggedy rule, right? And every rigid rule. But you kind of just know how far you can go and what decisions might be made based on, what examples, how you show up at work, you just know, right? But in business, I found myself, it was so confusing because I'm like, I've always known exactly what I needed to do in my corporate career. in my various jobs, but I didn't necessarily know why I was all of a sudden confused about what I should be doing in business. Like it didn't make sense to me. So I was like, help me make this make sense. And so I was confusing escaping a job, but the job still lived inside of me. Do you know what I mean? Like I had left the work, the job, the employer, the workforce, corporate America. I cut the cord, but the job, the trauma still came with me. It still lived inside of me. And that's what I'm saying. So we've got to heal those wounds, because if we don't, the drama, the trauma, the karma all follows in every aspect of your life. It spills over, right? So I realized, girl, you ain't confused. You're just conditioned. Ding, ding, ding. I didn't even realize it, right? Until later, much later in business. And so I had to do the hard work to unlearn all of these habitual patterns and behaviors that I had gotten used to. And that's what's true for you too. And so I want to give you some action steps, some of the steps that I took to actually get away from these patterns and behaviors that were not good because I hadn't yet healed those wounds. And I want to help you to heal. Okay? So everything starts from the inside out. My philosophy is that as a holistic business coach and an RN health and wellness educator, and also as a freedom strategist, in order to expedite our external success, we have to first heal ourselves internally. And that requires doing the deeper work. So I want you to do one of three. I want you to do all of these three things, actually. The first thing I want you to do is identify at least just one belief that you've been carrying that didn't start with you, that started in your upbringing, that started, that good girl programming we talked about, that started in corporate America, that started somewhere in your community, religious beliefs, whatever it might be. What is one thing, one belief that you can identify that didn't start with you? And then I want you to ask yourself, who told me that this belief had to be true? Like it absolutely had to be true. And then you accepted it as the truth, and you've been operating from that place ever since. That's the first thing I want you to do. The second thing I want you to do is write a new truth, because we need to replace, this is a part of reprogramming and relearning, right? And unlearning and retraining our brain. Because right now your brain is stained with a bunch of garbage. So I want you to say a new truth. Replace that old belief with something new. And then I want you to say this mantra. I want you to say, I don't have to prove my self-worth. In fact, I don't have to prove my worth because I am worthy. Again, I don't have to prove my worth because I am worthy. And then one more time for good measure. I don't have to prove my worth because I am. Say it with your whole chest, your attitude and all. Roll the neck and eyes, whatever you got to do. This is mirror work. Get in that mirror and look at yourself and say, I don't have to prove anything. I don't have to prove my worth because I am worthy. And that's it. Okay? And say it until you believe it. And believe it until you become it. Okay? The third thing I want you to do is act from this truth, this new truth you told yourself, for at least the next 24 hours. But I want you to speak it out loud, speak it into existence. I want you to speak up about it. I want you to say it out loud. I want you to make new decisions as from this version, this new version of yourself, this new 2.0 version of yourself, because I want you to act as if you already believe it. until it becomes a part of your new belief system, your new habitual patterns and behaviors, right? And I want you to start making your decisions from that place, from your future self, the person you're becoming. Definitely not from the person you are today, and certainly not that girl you were yesteryear and some years ago, right? We definitely want to make sure we're operating from our future selves, okay? And so if you're ready to finally stop spinning your wheels, if you're ready to stop overthinking every little thing and every step you take and every move you make, if you're ready to start building a business that's in alignment with your soul, that's an aligned and profitable online brand and business, one that prioritizes your peace, prioritizes your health, your healing, and your happiness. You don't have to compromise anything. You certainly don't have to sacrifice your soul and sanity. If that is where you are and you're ready to build a business from your whole healed self, not from your broken parts and pieces or your burnout, right? Not from the same broken beliefs. If that's where you are right now, then I want you to join me in my new 30-day private premium group coaching program, the Legacy Leaders Lab, okay? It is time to break the conditioning and rebuild from a place, again, from the inside out, because that's where it all starts. And so I want you to join me in my program, but in order to do so, you have to get on a call with me because I need to make sure that you're a good fit. And this call, by the way, is a clarity call. You have the opportunity to get on a call with me to learn about the program, but also if you just need one-off support, you will walk away with the clarity and insights that you need to keep you from being still stuck and stagnant with where you are right now, moving you closer to where you want to ultimately be, because you'll walk away with a personalized plan. But if you want a deeper transformation, then I would suggest getting on this call with me so you can learn more about the Legacy Leaders Lab. And I'll give you all the details in that call. And if you decide to join based on we decide we're a good fit for each other and this is the perfect match for you, then we'll go ahead and get you enrolled. And if you enroll within 14 days from that call, I have a bonus for you because I'm incentivizing this to get you to move your buns, okay? I want you to know that that bonus is going to be a credit. It's a gift from me to you. I am going to credit the cost of the call towards the investment of the program. Okay, so essentially the call is free. And like I said, even if we don't decide to work together, no pressure. If this is not the right time, I'm not here to sell you, on it. I'm not here to convince and convert you. You need to make sure you should be problem aware. And if this is the right solution for you, then that's all I'm doing is coming from a place of service, letting you know what it is. And then you can decide if this is the best move for you right now. But if any of this spoke to your spirit, your soul today, your heart, and you're like, oh, girl, she is talking to me. Okay, I want you to hop on this call with me. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Okay, like I said, 14 days from that call, if you decide to join, so like you don't even have to join that day. Within 14 days, you still have the opportunity. I'm giving you a short window of time, okay? And then we'll go ahead and put that credit towards the program. So it's a really sweet deal, right? I know that this is the perfect program for you. And it is going to be everything, okay? So I look forward to seeing you on the inside. If you are ready for alignment, I'm going to leave the link in the pinned comments and you are going to book this call today, okay? Now, that's my time. I'm going to tune out while you tune in. Be sure to share this video out with at least 3 friends and watch the next video that YouTube recommends. As always, and until next time, I am wholeheartedly in this journey with you. Bye for now.